Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for the qualifying round in the Easter Classic Tournament Pro Division. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and before we start, make sure that you do hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guide for Pro Division or any other division by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link is directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I do suggest you to play with. Have in mind though that these are all suggestions and you don't have to follow what I do suggest, but there is always, as always, a plan behind it. Let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we are going to play with our Apocalypse, and here it is important that we do have curl, and the reason we do want to have that curl is that we do want to push the ball to be as close to the green possible. Playing with drivers like Extra Mile or the Thor's Hammer will not have that curl, which will result into us being too far away from pin and will then complicate the possibility of getting the eagle. We start at max with half of the red ring inside the rough to the right, 6 bars of topspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right. Then we adjust maximum distance plus 10. We go with full curl to the right, and with Apocalypse level 1, 2, and 3, we go with 1.5 ring of overpower. Apocalypse level 4 or better, we don't go with any overpower whatsoever. Second shot, we are going to play with our short iron. Here I want us to play with the short iron that gives us the best ball guideline possible, because the ball guideline will help us immensely on this shot. Here I'm somewhat looking to push up from minimum distance to try to find a good line, and I push up approximately 15 rings from minimum distance line, not using any spin whatsoever, and we're going to apply 10% elevation. Obviously, when we're not entirely in minimum distance, we won't be playing minimum distance, so in this case we will be playing 20% slider. So 20% slider with a 10% over adjustment will get us there. And for those of you that do work with the rings from min method, we push up 15 rings, which equals 20% slider once again, and 10% elevation. Perfect ball, and it bounced nicely on the green and then up and right at pin. And you know, the good part when it comes to this type of shot here, when we push this ball to be as close to the green possible, is that we can have the first bounce on the green, because if we do have the first bounce before the green, it's gonna be a very uneven terrain to work with. So this is a very nice play and a good chance to drop hole number 1 for an eagle. Hole number 2, we start with a wind 2 ball to get the wind, 6.3 miles per hour, remember that. Then we change to a power 5 ball to have the ball guideline go through the hole with no spin applied, with a berserker ball and the grizzly. And we start in complete maximum distance with grizzly level 7 and level 8. 2.8 bars of backspin, 1 bar side spin to the right, and then we will apply max plus 25 based on the wind that we did have with the wind 2 ball. That's why it is so important to start with a wind 2 ball to note down the wind. So the 6.3 is what we use to make the adjustment maximum distance plus 25 with our grizzly. So once we have adjusted our rings with the berserker ball, we are in that case going to change and play with a titan ball instead, and then try to hit perfect. The reason we do this is because I do not want to play with the Guardian, and I also don't want to limit ourselves having to play with a sniper level 10 or level 9 to get ourselves the backspin needed to attack the pin in the end. So that's why we do a little ball swap here. And one trick that you can bring with you is that if you have a power 5 ball that has wind 2, a rose ball is a perfect example, then start with the rose ball instead, because then you will have the wind that you will then play with when it comes to with a titan. But if you don't have a win 2 power 5 ball, you're going to have to start with a win 2 ball like the titan to note down the wind as a start. So it's a little bit tricky, but this is a very good shot, and we just need to just make our pull correct, otherwise I do think we would have dropped this one for a nice hole-in-one on a tough par 3, which is hole number 2. Hole number 3, we're going to play with our big topper. Please have in mind that we do not need to have the big topper level 6 to play this shot. We can play with as low as big topper level 1, and I will give you some info about that once taking this shot. Max top spin, 1 bar side spin to the right. We're looking to aim with the ball guideline to point straight down the second fairway. Once that is done, we will apply an adjustment that is maximum distance plus 10. And with the big topper level 4, 5, 6, we do push up 8 yards after our adjustment. And the reason we're going to push up yards instead of push up rings is due to the big topper have a very different accuracy amongst the levels of it. So therefore we push up yards instead of rings. So from +2 we push up to +10, double bounce on the fairway over to the next fairway, and we're looking to get to around 405 to 415 yards. When you play with a lower level type of big topper, like big topper level 2 or level 3 for an example, then we need to push up 10 yards after our adjustment. When it comes to big topper level 1, you do push up to absolute very max, and if you push up to get into overpower, you will have to apply that little overpower that is necessary in the end. Second shot, we play with our Grizzly, and this is going to be a difficult shot towards the pin. Why? It's because we're going to play on a very uneven terrain. So look at the ball guideline here. I'm going back and forth, trying to find a spot that's going to give us a nice bounce up towards the pin. But this is going to be difficult. So we're going to have to be quick first and foremost to find the spot. And I do feel that using half a bar of backspin, 1 bar of left spin got me there. But looking at the result, speed wise we come in okay, but we're going to miss not miles to the right, we're gonna miss pretty heavily to the right of the pin. So this is a shot that I do not feel that comfortable with when it comes to attacking the pin. But is there a possibility to drop it? Yes, absolutely. But we do need to have most likely a slight different position, or we need to offset a little bit to the left of the pin. But this has always been a difficult shot to drop on the Sakura Hills, but we're gonna get it in the end. So hole number 3 here for you. Good chance for an albatross, but in the end should be at least a safe eagle. Hole number 4, I'm going to give you 2 types of shots here. One is going to be an aggressive rough bump, which I do recommend if you feel comfortable with your adjustment, and one which is a bounce over here. 0.6 bars of backspin, 0.5 bars of side spin to the right, top of the inner ring by the edge of the rough with the ball guideline to the hole. Here I am going to look to have no 12-1 with my pull angle. I'm looking for a straight pull and also favoring then 11.59 if any. Adjustment shall be maximum distance plus 15, which is 0.1 extra than what shows here in the video. So, and the reason I want to have that 0.1 extra is due to us dropping this shot left side of the cup. And you can see we bounce nicely into the rough, so we do not have any risk of missing the rough in that case, and we drop left side. So if we play max plus 15, we would get that 1 extra decimal and most likely drop that one right at pin and give ourselves a little bit of room with a faulty adjustment. But this is main option in my opinion. But again, I know there is players that are watching this video that might not feel comfortable with this type of aggressive play. That's why we want to take a look at option number 2. So option number 2, we're gonna play a bounce over here, which is, again, it is option number 2 because it's going to be harder to get this one to drop. 2.8 bars of backspin, 1 bar of left spin, and we're looking to now have the top of the red ring by the rough line with the ball guideline pointing towards the hole. Once that is done, we are going to apply medium distance plus 10 power 3 ball settings, which is 1 to 1. But looking at the video here, it looks like I do overpull by 0.1 decimals. I know we're talking about very minor details, but those details are especially important on par 3s. Perfect ball, and that one 0.1 extra pull there definitely makes us just burn the right edge here. Very, very close to get that one to drop. Speed is good and very pleased with that. But this is an alternative option to the rough bump if you do not feel comfortable with that shot. Hole number 5, I want us to play with a power 3 ball and preferably a kingmaker. Not so much for the drive when it comes to the kingmaker, but the second shot most especially. 5 bars of topspin, 1 bar of left spin. We're aiming for the ball guideline to just go straight down the fairway. So really, it's not that hard landing position here, but it is important to add the spin first to find a somewhat correct landing position. Maximum distance plus 10 is what we do adjust, and then it's time to try to hit perfect. The ball here is going to roll, and we're going to be somewhere between 360 and 370 yards. And what I would like to be is somewhere in between that. So we're gonna get 365, and that's really good for the second shot. Now, the second shot is going to be an aggressive one because in my opinion, the only reasonable way to attack the pin here is by going with a rough bump. And I'm using 2 bars of topspin, and I'm gonna use half a bar of side spin to the left. And you can see here now with the position of my rings that I'm having 1/4 of the yellow ring falling down into the sand with the ball guideline going through the hole. Very important that the ball guideline go through the hole. Now, we are going to play an under adjustment because we play this one massively uphill. Negative or a minus 30% elevation, and in this case here I play 30% slider. You will also notice that when I do make my pull, I do go by an 1159 when it comes to pull angle, and that is going to be important. It means that the needle, like the wind arrow, shall in that case be pointing a little bit to the left of center instead of going straight up. We miss just barely to the right, and I would recommend here to play 45% slider instead of a 30, because they're obviously, when played with such a massive under adjustment, the difference between the slider percentage and the yardage, that slider percentage and the decimals is going to be pretty big. So 45% slider, as I judged that we needed 0.2 extra to get that ball to drop. But please make sure that you do the 1159, because if you don't do the 1159 pull angle, you will most likely get stuck into the bunker, and that's going to be a terrible way of ending up here on hole number 5. Hole number 6, and we're gonna play with extra mile with 4.5 bar topspin, 1 bar of side spin to the right. Yes, we're gonna change to right spin here just now. And now we're looking for the ball guideline to go just straight down the fairway, approximately having the second bounce 1 ring above the rough. Now we're going to apply maximum distance plus 5 with our adjustment. And when it comes to the extra mile level 8 or level 9, you shall not push up anything. If you play with extra mile level 6 or level 7, you push up 1 ring after your adjustment. Perfect ball, and now we're looking to get to around 360 to 370 yards. And you can see here that we do have room on the fairway to push the drive a little bit harder if we want to. 361 is going to leave us with somewhat a max sniper, and here I have decided to use the plus yardage in my favor, okay? So the plus yardage that is displayed on my club, which in this case is plus 11, is something that I will then translate into a slider percentage. I'm using 3.1 bar of backspin, and ball guideline shall be short of hole, otherwise you will come in hot, and ball guideline should be pointing to the hole as well. So from plus 11 yard mark, we shall play 85% slider with, in that case, 10% elevation. But as you are noticing with my wind arrow here, I do have an 1159 on my pull angle. I also over adjust 1 extra decimal. Both of those things will make me miss to the left. And you can see here now but that we are actually ending up way left to where we aimed, and speed-wise is perfect, but we do need to remove that 1159, have a straight pull, and also adjust accordingly, and don't over-adjust as we just did. So from plus 11, we play 85% slider, and 10% elevation with the sniper rough bump. In my opinion, a good chance to getting a drop here on hole number 6, but in the end though, it shall be, even with a great left and a great right, a pretty safe eagle. Hole number 7, we will here attempt a rough bump just above the bunker, and we're gonna start by adding 2.2 bars of backspin, half a bar of side spin to the right. Now, half of the yellow ring to be, or like what can I say? Half of the top yellow ring outside the rough with the ball guideline to the hole. Now, when we do make our pull here, it is very important that you do play with an 1159. If you do play with a 1201, you do have a risk of missing the rough completely. Now, I'm going to adjust this one 1-to-1 plus 0.1, which is 5.9. But based on the result here, you will see that this one is just barely going to miss on the right-hand side of the cup. So the tweak that I want to do here is to reduce 0.2 to our adjustment here in the video, which would be medium distance, no elevation, power 3 ball settings. And I do believe that one would have dropped lovely with those 0.2 less. So, you may be wondering, why do we play this aggressive type of line? It's because it is the absolute best way to get an hole-in-one here. We just need to get the correct adjustment, which I do believe we have now, with medium distance, no elevation, power 3 ball settings. But please, make sure that when you do pull your rings, that your needle is pointing to the left of the center and not straight, or in that case, most definitely not to the right of the center, because then you will have a problem. Hole number 8, and I said to myself before playing this hole that now I'm going to try to play it smart, and I'm actually happy with how it ended up. 3 bars of side spin to the right. You can see that I'm playing with the rock level 8, and I'm gonna start just before the plus 0 yard mark. 3 bars of topspin in the end. Sorry, 2.5 bar topspin in the end, not 3 obviously. Ball guideline should be pointing, you see that pink 3 should be just pointing just left of that pink 3, or like 3, not 3, yeah, Swinglish. Adjustment, maximum distance plus 10. We do adjust into overpower, but do not use any overpower whatsoever. It's all counted for. So, we do hit a perfect ball, and we're looking to get this ball just short on fairway. And we normally play this one very tough and very aggressive, trying to get close to pin, but I do have a plan with this type of shot. 313 yards, it's absolutely perfect. If you do play with the rock level 7, you do start at plus 5 instead of just before plus 0, as we do with the rock level 8 and rock level 9. Second shot, you can see here now that we are going to be in either complete max distance with our thorn or complete minimum distance with our grizzly. So here we use complete minimum distance of our club. I'm going to in the end go with 0.8 bars of backspin and 2 bars of side spin to the left. Ball guideline shall go just slightly right of pin, but also go through the hole. Very important that we let the ball guideline go through the hole, otherwise we will most likely go short. So from complete minimum distance, we're not gonna play max as it says in the info box. We're gonna change that to, what shall we change it to? Yes, we're gonna change it to minimum distance instead. So minimum distance, no elevation for this shot. And remember the spin, 2 bars of left spin, 0.8 bars of back spin, and you will notice that this ball is going to bounce very nicely on the fairway, up on the hill, and then roll towards the pin for a beautiful eagle here on hole number 8. Obviously, you can play different ways here on hole number 8, where you can go for a dunk, you can also go for a backspin shot towards the pin, but I do feel that when we do have headwind, most especially, laying up, playing it smart like we're doing here now, playing grizzly from minimum distance, we can replicate this shot basically every single time. But the key is the drive. Don't mess up the drive, then you might find yourself in different club distances, and then it's going to be tricky. But in the end though, very good chance on hole number 8. Hole number 9 is what we're gonna end up with, and this is honestly a super duper boring par 5 in almost whatever wind that we're going to have, but we're gonna get the eagle at least. That's what we're looking for. Max topspin, 1 bar side spin to the right, ball guideline pointing straight down the middle. If you do have the possibility to play with a big topper, that's definitely a good club to go with. But if you do have the possibility to play with the Thor's Hammer level 5 plus or Extra Mile level 9, Apocalypse level 6 plus, then go with those type of clubs instead. Otherwise, for those of us having a little bit lower level drivers, then play with the big topper regardless of what level the big topper is in. Max overpower, we do have a lot of room on that fairway. We can hit great left, great right, and we'll still be fine. And we do want to have this ball to roll as far down the fairway possible. If you have the possibility to play with a topspin boost ball, I will not say that I'm going to recommend it, but it's definitely a possibility to get a couple of extra yards. But in the end though, even if we do get some extra yards, we do want to have the power 5 for the second shot to be able to reach to get to green. You can see that we are far away from just landing on the green directly, so now we're going to have to just play it safe, trying to get the ball to green and try to have a safe putt for an eagle. If we would be having a very lucky drive and reach way further than we did, we can use backspin and land the ball on green, trying to somewhat attack the pin for an albatross. But I would say like this, I think we can count on one hand the amount of albatrosses that will happen in the qualifying round in Pro Division, and those that make an albatross will most likely have very good clubs to begin with and be able to reach very far with their drive. But now we play here to the green, we play max plus 5 power 5 ball settings, 2 bars of side spin, and then just a little curl and a little overpower as well to get the ball there. But the spin and the curl will all vary depending on where you are after your drive, so make sure that you are prepared to adapt your adjustment, once again based on where you end up after your drive. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro Division with the tournament win for the qualifying round in the Easter Classic Tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And make sure that you do hit the thumbs up before you go. And also if you do want to get the ultimate tournament guides for Pro or any other divisions, you go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link directly in the description down below. Thank you once again for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.